500 years ago, a man who had every reason to surrender did something almost no one expected. He stopped arguing with reality. While others cursed their enemies, he studied them. While others waited for justice, he searched for patterns. And in the silence of exile, he reached a conclusion that still unsetates anyone willing to face it. Most people believe their greatest obstacle is a lack of opportunity. They blame bad luck, bad timing, bad people. But history keeps exposing a far less comfortable possibility. The real obstacle is seeing the world through stories instead of through evidence. We expect loyalty because we have been loyal. We expect honesty because we value honesty. We expect effort to guarantee results because that feels fair. Reality signs no such agreement. That is why the same mistakes repeat across centuries. Empires collapse for familiar reasons. Companies rise, become comfortable, then disappear. Friendships fracture over incentives that were invisible until pressure arrived. The names change. Human nature rarely does. Niccolo Machiavelli did not become influential because he celebrated power. He became influential because he refused to romanticize it. He watched governments fail from the inside. He negotiated with rulers whose smiles concealed ambition. He witnessed fortunes disappear in weeks. From those experiences, he extracted something far more enduring than political advice. He uncovered recurring patterns of human behavior. The uncomfortable part is that these patterns did not vanish with kingdoms. They simply changed clothing. Today they wear tailored suits instead of royal robes. They speak through boardrooms instead of palaces. They spread through algorithms instead of handwritten letters. Yet the forces beneath them remain remarkably familiar. The question is not whether you like this reality. The question is whether you can recognize it before it recognizes you. Because the moment you mistake appearances for truth, someone who understands the difference begins making decisions that shape your future without you ever noticing. Before we examine the first principle, understand this. The greatest danger is rarely what you cannot see. It is what you refuse to question. And once you see the first pattern, it becomes impossible to look at your own life the same way again. Number 1. The most expensive illusion. Every generation inherits a comforting belief. If you work hard, stay honest, and treat people well, life will naturally move in your favor. It is a beautiful story. It is also an incomplete one. History repeatedly shows that effort alone explains only part of success. Two people can display equal discipline while arriving at entirely different destinations because they were responding to different circumstances, different incentives, and different information. The mistake is assuming reality rewards intention. More often, it responds to accuracy. Consider two founders launching nearly identical companies. One spends years perfecting a product nobody urgently needs. The other notices a small shift in customer behavior before anyone else does and adapts immediately. The first may have worked harder. The second understood reality sooner. Markets rarely reward sincerity. They reward relevance. The same principle appears in relationships, careers, and leadership. People frequently defend beliefs long after evidence has turned against them because abandoning the story feels more painful than accepting the truth. Yet every delayed adjustment increases the eventual cost. Machiavelli observed that those who refuse to adapt are usually defeated before they realize the conditions have changed. The danger is not ignorance. The danger is confidence built on outdated assumptions. The strongest minds are not those who are always right. They are those willing to replace yesterday's certainty with today's evidence. That sounds simple until pride enters the room. Pride protects identity. Reality ignores identity. It only measures results. And once you understand that distinction, another question begins to emerge. If accurate perception matters more than comforting belief, what invisible force keeps intelligent people making the same predictable mistakes over and over again? Number 2. Pressure never creates character. It reveals structure. Most people believe they truly know someone after years of conversation. History suggests otherwise. Time reveals habits. Pressure reveals architecture. A person can appear generous when resources are abundant. They can appear patient when nothing important is at stake. They can appear loyal when loyalty costs nothing. Remove comfort. Compress time. Raise the consequences. Suddenly, the invisible framework beneath the personality becomes visible. This is why major economic crises expose more about organizations than years of steady growth. During expansion, weak leadership often hides behind rising numbers. When markets contract, every delayed decision, every ignored weakness, and every illusion of competence surfaces at once. The same pattern unfolds inside families, partnerships, and friendships. The stress does not manufacture selfishness or courage. It simply removes the luxury of pretending. Renaissance Italy offered countless examples. Alliances celebrated as unbreakable dissolved within weeks when survival demanded different priorities. Public declarations disappeared. Incentives remained. Machiavelli did not interpret this as proof that humanity was hopeless. He interpreted it as evidence that wise judgment begins where idealized expectations end. Modern life offers quieter versions of the same lesson. A promotion changes office dynamics overnight. An unexpected inheritance reshapes family conversations. A viral controversy transforms public friendships into calculated distance. The event is visible. The incentives beneath it are usually not. That is why calm observation is more valuable than emotional reaction. Instead of asking why someone changed, ask what changed around them. Often the answer explains everything. The strongest relationships are not built on promises made in comfort. They survive repeated contact with adversity because their structure has already been tested. Anything untested remains a theory. Anything tested becomes knowledge. Once you understand this, disappointment loses much of its power because surprise gradually gives way to recognition. And that recognition leads to an even deeper realization. If circumstances can expose hidden motives in other people, they can expose hidden weaknesses inside you as well. Number 3. The battle you cannot see decides every visible outcome. Every morning, millions of people believe they are fighting external battles. A difficult manager, a powerful competitor, a slowing economy, an unfair system. Those challenges are real, yet they often distract from the quieter conflict taking place beneath every decision. The struggle between immediate comfort and long-term clarity. Civilization has changed its technology thousands of times. Human impulses have changed very little. The easiest choice almost always demands the smallest amount of present discomfort. That is why attention drifts toward endless scrolling instead of focused work. That is why difficult conversations are postponed until they become unavoidable. That is why obvious risks remain ignored until they evolve into crises. Machiavelli described fortune as a force beyond complete control, but he repeatedly emphasized preparation because preparation transforms uncertainty into advantage. Imagine two companies entering the same recession. Both face shrinking demand. Both lose customers. One spent prosperous years expanding recklessly because growth felt permanent. The other quietly built reserves, diversified revenue, and invested in adaptable people rather than temporary appearances. When the downturn arrives, outsiders call one unlucky and the other fortunate. They overlook the invisible years that separated resilience from collapse. The same principle governs individual lives. Skills accumulated before they become necessary create options when everyone else is trapped. Emotional discipline practiced before conflict begins prevents panic after conflict arrives. Reputation established through consistent action speaks louder than explanations delivered during failure. Preparation is invisible until the moment it becomes indispensable. By then, observers mistake discipline for talent and planning for luck. The truth is less dramatic and more demanding. Every quiet decision compounds long before the world notices its effects. The future rarely arrives all at once. It announces itself through small patterns ignored by people too distracted to recognize them. And the greatest advantage rarely belongs to the fastest thinker in the room. It belongs to the person who noticed the pattern before everyone else believed it mattered.